Art Deco guy. I have one tattoo on my arm that says 1937. I should be living right now or in 1937. The world gelled. The world was cohesive. Here, Europe, South America, Havana, wherever it was, the automotive industry, pontoon fenders, the Art Deco era, which was all 1937, the clothing, everything was sexy, seductive, beautiful, beautiful lines, streamlined. You knew where you were. Right now, the world's kind of a mishmash, a mess, chaos. My grandfather came to the United States from Palermo, Sicily, in 1933 from Ellis Island, then resided in Hoboken, where many of the Italians did, in the Italian section of Hoboken. Grew up, he did, I wasn't born until '58, but my grandmother and all that all grew up around the corner from Frank Sinatra. My father was in, he had a regular job, but he was in the nightclub business and ran a club, so he dressed very, very sharp, in, that I can remember as a young boy in the mid-'60s. My father, I used to shine his shoes, get his pinky ring ready, put his outfits together, press his shirts, and watch him get dressed. And the best thing that I loved was when he was in the mirror doing his hair, which was jet black, like olive oil, like greased black, and he would just do the dip. And then I'd run to the window and watch him walk down the front steps to get into his car. And it was also all my life hanging out with, Grandpa, which was my big thing. I mean, Grandpa and I were like, I was his king. I was Prince Savoia to him. I was his daughter's firstborn. He took me out of school when I was 7 years old with his broken English, with fake notes. He did all of this like once a week to take me to Coney Island because he was in the Polar Bear Club. In between that, as growing up 13, I ran a men's shop in my neighborhood too after school. So I was always in fashion or the arts, because before this I wanted to be a cartoonist. I'm a custom tailor / costume designer, builder. That I'm wearing, I make. I pretty much, besides jeans, I just wear my own clothing. This is one of the shirts I've made. This is actually out of,
It's amazing, the shears.
It's like, it's pantyhose. It was in a roll for women's pantyhose, sheer. The trousers are actually made out of vintage fabric. A client of mine, I did a suit for him. Actually, I did a suit for him out of this fabric, and he had extra fabric, and then I traded one of my other fabrics for another cut, which was just enough to make a pair of pants. These boots are stallion boots. My little embellishments I got on eBay. I love gold. I'm not a silver kind of a guy. I collect diver watches, or I collect watches. I like watches. This is a vintage Italian motorcycle coat. And I got it all distressed. I love it. It's my favorite one. I have a collection of long, motorcycle coats from Germany and Italy, and this is my favorite one. A shirt is a Sea Island cotton that I sell at the store here. Long point collar, stovepipe, it's a French cuff without using cufflinks, so it's called a stovepipe with the buttons. Contrast stitching, contrast buttons. Classic velvet with satin piping vest on it with a satin back matching, and a pair of wool black with cream pinstripes that I make myself. No belt loops, little bit high. Actually, high-waisted for modern day standards, but sitting
normal
on your regular waist, where that's another whole pet peeve of mine about pants wearing on the hip. This is where a man should wear their pants. That's your waist. Besides vintage stuff and things, Edward Green to me makes the most incredible classic shoes. And then the typical Italian sheer.
Those are amazing,
Silk
actually.
socks. And growing up in Jersey, Hoboken, Italian, back then you only got tattoos. Well, obviously if you were a gangster or you were in the Navy back in the 30s and the 40s, it's not like today. It was taboo in a way, but among the Italian culture in that, you got mom and pop, out of love, and or then when somebody passed and, in memory of and things like that. And got my first tattoo when my mom passed away in 1986, and it was a small tattoo that says Mom. Then none. Then my daughter was born, Gabriella, and I got another matching one little bit bigger, no cross, just the heart again, Bella Gabriella. Then I added in one shot the whole snake to guard her. Mighty Joe Young, which I collect a lot of Mighty Joe Young stuff, and from the original vintage movie, my tattoo of New York City, and there are 7 and the 713 together is the address that I grew up at, 713 10th Street. These are just, God, I've had these for probably a good 8 years, 9 years. They keep stretching out bigger. I keep taking them back. They're due for another cut down. These are a remake of the original Liberty boot that they made in the 40s. These are like original rockabilly pattern, rockabilly color. They're killer. My hat and scarf is just an old school way of, it's an old school Applejack, 8-section cap that has been done from, the 1900s. Very big in the gangster era, the paperboy hat, which is what, another term of it is.
Yeah.
I do my things over and over.
Yeah.
Because it's great. I don't need to, go and reinvent the wheel. That's not what I'm about. I'm not about coming up with that odd thing. What I do already is what it is. With, the times of the world that's going now, we're moving so fast. Things change. No one can get really a handle on things. In the past with the eras, it was cohesive. The music went along with the clothes. The clothes went along with the
Too much
decor.
information.
Exactly. There's just too much out there. Everyone is scrambled. It's like putting a million things in a computer. That's what they're doing. And there's not enough... it's not that people have blinders on. It's that they don't have blinders on anymore because of the world being so free with everything.